Hello everyone and welcome to your channel IELTS Perfection. This is our second video on what to say if you don't know the answer in IELTS speaking test for speaking part 2. If you haven't seen the first video, go and check it out. Let's get started. As previously said, the goal in IELTS speaking test is to show the examiner you can speak fluently and coherently even if the topic is unfamiliar. So, you need to remember, IELTS doesn't check accuracy of facts, only communication quality. Let's start with first strategy. Be honest, then keep talking. If you don't know much about the topic, you can acknowledge it politely, then talk around it using general ideas, imagination, or related experiences. For this purpose, you can use the phrases like,
That's a really interesting topic, and honestly, I haven't thought about it before. I don't know much about it, but let me tell you what I think. I might not be very familiar with this topic, but I'll try my best to describe it.
Now let's see a complete example.
Describe a historical event that you find interesting.
That's an interesting topic, and honestly, I'm not very knowledgeable about history. But one event that I do find fascinating is the moon landing in 1969. I remember watching a short documentary about it a few years ago, and it really caught my attention. The idea that humans actually managed to travel all the way to the moon over 50 years ago is just mind-blowing. From what I know, it was the first time astronauts successfully landed on the moon, and it represented a huge achievement for science and technology. I think what makes it even more inspiring is how brave those astronauts were. They took massive risks for the sake of exploration. Personally, I find this event meaningful because it shows how far human curiosity and determination can take us. Even though I don't usually follow historical events, this one always gives me a sense of wonder about what people are capable of achieving.
So why is this band 8? Because the fluency is smooth and natural and there is no hesitation. The grammar range is strong with advanced structures. The vocabulary stands out, words like mind-blowing, massive risks, and sense of wonder, and it's well organized, intro, details, feelings, and a clear ending. Strategy 2. Use imagination and general knowledge. If you don't know the topic, create a story or example. The examiner doesn't care if it's real. What matters is fluency, grammar, and vocabulary. For this purpose, you can use the phrases like,
I can't think of a specific example, but let me imagine one. I'm not an expert, but I'd say, let me describe something similar that comes to mind.
Now let's see a complete example.
Describe a piece of art you like.
Well, I'm not really an art lover, and I can't name many famous paintings, but one piece of art that really caught my attention was a painting of a sunset I once saw in an exhibition. I don't remember the artist's name, but the colors were absolutely stunning. Shades of orange, pink, and purple blending together in a really peaceful way. It wasn't a complicated piece. In fact, it was quite simple. But the way it captured that quiet, relaxing moment just before the sun disappears was beautiful. I think what made me like it even more was how it made me feel. I'd had a stressful day at that time, and when I looked at the painting, I suddenly felt calm and refreshed. It reminded me of summer evenings when everything slows down. I guess that's what good art does. It connects with your emotions, even if you don't fully understand it.
Why is it a good answer? It's natural and well structured. Intro, description, feelings, and reflection. Also, it has strong emotional words like stunning and connects with your emotions. Also, it has a smooth flow, no hesitation, and great paraphrasing like painting, piece of art, and exhibition. Strategy 3. Talk about feelings instead of facts. When you don't know the details, focus on how you feel or what you think about the topic. For this purpose, you can use the phrases like,
I'm not sure about the details, but I think. What matters to me is how it makes me feel. Even though I don't know much about it, I can appreciate.
Alright, now let's see a complete example.
Describe a traditional product from your country.
That's a good question. I'm not sure if this counts, but I'd say one traditional product from my country is the Persian carpet. I've seen them ever since I was a child, especially in my grandparents' house. They're handmade, colorful, and full of detailed patterns. What makes them special, in my opinion, is that each carpet tells a story. The designs often represent nature, history, or culture. Even though I don't know much about the process of making them, I've always admired how much time and patience it must take. I think they're more than just a decoration. They're part of our national identity. Whenever I see one, it gives me a warm feeling of home and nostalgia. It's amazing how something so simple can carry so much meaning.
It's a good answer because it's rich in vocabulary. Words like detailed patterns, national identity, and nostalgia. It shows a personal connection, making the answer emotional and vivid. And it's clearly structured and easy to follow. That's band 8 quality. And finally, strategy 4, which is kind of like a summary of all the strategies. Use the 5-step fluency framework. Introduction, general statement, example story, feelings and opinions, and conclusion. This formula guarantees that even if you have zero knowledge about the topic, you can still speak for 1 to 2 minutes smoothly. Keep studying hard, and I'll see you in the next video.